This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer.
In the capital murder case of Bryan Kohberger, a lawyer for Bryan Kohberger is now asking the judge to make public their arguments that he should rethink his decision to deny their ask to toss out the charges, the actual proceedings where that was requested and denied. Why was it denied? What happened in that private closed-door hearing that now the attorneys for Kohberger seem to so desperately want the public to be aware of? There's been a lot of things in this case that aren't exactly what they appear to be. Look behind door number 3. What do we have here? Not exactly what you think in terms of exonerating evidence. Here to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI Special Agent. Is that exactly what we're witnessing here? Just a big old game show of, hey, there could be something behind this door that may be kind of exonerating or may put some question into your mind, but we can't really tell you what it is because we don't really have it. But just the mystery of it is what we want to talk about because we know the judge probably won't unseal this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's partially it. This is a win for the defense, just putting this on the table, because it's either A, as you said it, so now everybody thinks, ooh, they have something really interesting behind door number 3. But we all know the judge is likely not going to release that. Because why? Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. No one put up a bigger battle than I've really ever seen in 28 years as this defense has done, saying, seal it, close it up. We don't want this, fought in the media. We're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars to hire media experts to say how advantageous it is for the prosecution and how horrible it would be for Bryan Kohberger if this case is tried in the media. And now what are they doing? Oh, this piece they want in the media. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting how they, took this turn, if you will. And I think it is exactly that. I think it's a play. And I don't think the judge will approve it, because once you start opening and unsealing, then what's your reason for sealing any of it?
Well, exactly. I mean, there is a gag order on this case right now. Obviously, there has been pieces that have leaked out from the prosecution over time. Some things not even just leaking, just coming out as they well should have. But at the same point, there's a narrative in the public that both sides are concerned with, because at the end of the day, yes, as impartial as we want juries to be, people are human. They're going to be influenced by things that they see and hear. Just being on a jury doesn't mean you have to have no knowledge of the case existing. But if you have some sort of an impression of the case existing one way or the other, that will inevitably probably influence a decision. And there really hasn't been a whole lot out there for, I guess, reasonable thinking people that exonerates Kohberger or really gives him any sort of advantage here in this case. Are we going to see more of this from the defense of Kohberger? Do you think they have anything that can actually be, leaked out to help the defense of Kohberger and the mind of the public?
Well, I think the big thing they leaked was when they said, and this was nothing short of a leak, when they said in a filing that there was no DNA, remember, not blood, but no DNA found in his vehicle, in his apartment, or in his office. Mm-hmm. So that was the big reveal, right? Because for most of us that are, worked in law enforcement all these years, we were quite sure that there would be something in that vehicle because he would have been a bloody mess. Mm-hmm. But it's clear now, what I believe happened, he took off all that garb. He took off the bloody mess garb, put it likely in a plastic bag that he had brought with him, and got it all wrapped up, threw it in the trunk. I think his car was lined. I think his trunk was lined. And he had weeks. Let's see, the 13th, he had 6 weeks to appropriately clean and get rid of any evidence, right? Mm-hmm. So, but that was a big reveal that I think helped his case. But what was missing to me, Tony, was really the much bigger reveal. They weren't bragging about how his DNA wasn't at 1122 King Road. And I'm not talking about the sheath. I'm talking about if you're going to say there's no DNA any place connected to him and then leave out the nugget that or anywhere at 1122 King Road. Notice how that was missing. So I think that they really hamstrung themselves by actually saying that, because it begged the question, but what about 1122? Why aren't you bragging about that? So I just don't know that they have anything that they can really hang their hat on at all at this point.
Would there be a reason to hang on to any sort of information if you are the defense of Kohberger at this point? That really is truly exonerating. Wouldn't you want to get that out there in advance rather than try to drop a bombshell in the trial? I mean, especially if it is very exonerating. I mean, I guess you do tip your hand a bit to the prosecution arguing against whatever you're putting out there. But if there's something out there, I mean, alibi being one of them, which all digital evidence points to, well, your alibi shows you pretty close to that house, if not at that house. You would want to get that out there. Do you think that we're going to see any sort of bombshell revelation or evidence come out when this eventually does make it to trial that does help Kohberger?
Well, we know that his alibi is he was driving around, right? So I see that from a prosecution standpoint as a huge honeypot. I love that they said that. That's the one thing, whenever you're conducting an interview, you want to get the person that you're interviewing. I mean, you're looking for a mistake. And one of the biggest mistakes they can make is, well, I didn't murder him. I know I don't even know him, but you're going to find that I was there because, I got diverted to that house thinking it was a buddy's house. And so I went there. In other words, and then you're just sitting across the table going, hallelujah, he just put himself there.
Yeah.
Even if it was, false reasons why he was there. And that's what Kohberger has done. And the reason he did it, I believe, is because the digital information from his phone is just going to be too much to overcome.
Yeah.
So they had to just say, all right, he was riding around. But back to your question, because there's a gag order, we don't really know if they have any nugget of, information that they've turned over to the prosecution that somehow, is good or favorable to them. But the one big thing they needed to do was come up with an alibi. And they did a poor job at that, I believe.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
Until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.